Hi, Syndee Hendricks here with Beyond Logic, and we are thrilled to be with you today. And you are not going to believe my very special guest and friend, Rozlyn, and she is amazing. Wait till you hear what she does. She is a clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, and she also is a clairalient, which you're going to hear about a little bit later in the show because that's not one of the common clairs. She provides incredible information doing readings for over 4 decades for personal and corporate clients. She also does psychometry and remote viewing. She analyzes businesses and land to clear energy, which, as you may know, is pretty important, especially today with all the energies out there. She's does mediumship, animal communication, clearing, healing, and balancing with crystals. She does classes. She helps people improve their intuition, and she does coaching to manifest goal achievement. My goodness, we need to have her back for several shows to go over all of that because she is the real deal. I've known her for over a decade myself, and she is all that and more. So without further ado, I am going to bring her on so that you can get to know her as almost as well as I do. Welcome, Roz. Thrilled to have you today.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. It's good to see you.
Thanks. Right back at you, girl. And I'm sure you've been a very busy gal with everything that's going on in our world today.
I have been pretty busy. It's been an amazing year to 2 years. I have to say that I feel like this is the time when, those of us who have gifts for intuition can really help other people.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know you do that too.
Yes, it's been very trying for many people, what with, health and with the economy and with the state of the world. My goodness, it seems like everything's coming at everyone all at once.
It's true.
Yes. And we're not even talking climate change yet. We're getting all our rain here in California in like a week.
Well, sure need it.
Well, we definitely need it, but we haven't had any for like 250 days, if you can
Right.
believe that. So now we're going to have flooding issues. So let's hope we can get that under control. But with people like you, it helps to be able to analyze what's going on with the land itself.
I think it is helpful. And I feel that Mother Earth is actually a being. Our Earth is a living being within itself. And so I feel like it's really important to be respectful of Mother Earth and understand a lot of the things that are happening right now.
Yes. So, how is it that you do the healings and what is involved with that? Because I find that to be fascinating.
Well, because the Earth actually, I feel the Earth energy at a very high level of sensitivity, and different, locations have different responses to the questions that I ask. And I learned dowsing quite a few years back. And this is definitely something for those of you who have experience knowing about that. We definitely tune in to the very specific wants, needs, and desires, and total control of everything that's going on with Mother Earth. And we have impacted that tremendously. So,
yes. Well, for those who don't know what dowsing is, would you mind taking just a moment and explaining so that they have an understanding?
a lot of people who do dowsing use either a forked stick, which they hold like this, metal rods, or a pendulum. I usually use my hand, but dowsing is the ability to really tune in on some type of mineral, water. That's the most common knowledge of it, I think, within the earth. And the earth actually because of the high level of sensitivity, responds when we tune in and are doing that work. So it's basically just energy work on the earth.
Well, that's very interesting. And I'm sure you have some stories to tell there.
I do.
Yes. Yes. So share your most interesting story on that point.
My most common requests for that are people who would like to build in a specific area. So they want to know what's underground there. They want to know what type of rock, what the substrate is, etc. And I find that the earth responds when I go to those areas and I walk them and I stand there and ask the questions. Again, I mean, I know most people who do this use dowsing rods or a tool. I find it easier just to extend my hands. And when I ask these questions, the earth tells me what's happening there. And a lot of people have concerns when they are building about the long-term effects of weather, what's going to be happening on that particular piece of land. So all of these things are things that we can ask Mother Earth and she can tell us. And that's basically it.
Well, I can tell you, listeners, that she knows what she's talking about. I have worked with Roz many, many years, and I am always impressed with what she knows. She is definitely a person who can get to the bottom of information and share it. So I would be really interested also, as I'm sure our watchers would, if you would explain what that other word is that I probably didn't pronounce correctly, of what it is that you do.
I feel like what I do, I mean, there's so many different descriptions of psychic ability, and we all have some. But I feel like what I do is tune in on future. It's kind of woo-woo to say past, present, future, but that is true because energy runs in a line. Mm-hmm. And I'm able to look forward, backward, and see what's happening right now. So that
the word I was looking at was, I think it's clairalient. Is that right? How I'm pronouncing it?
Well, there's clairalient.
Clairalient.
And I'm not, clairalient's not coming up, but
okay.
I feel like clairalient goes along with when you're pulling information in and doing a reading, you're also using your other five senses. So clairalient is the sense of smell when you're doing readings, and there's kind of a just an energy that swirls around with your other five senses, picking up that information in that process. So I'm trying to think of clairalient. That's not coming to mind.
Okay, well, I probably just mispronounced it. I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah,
clairalient.
Sorry.
So that's pretty interesting.
It is. It's also very common to taste. Your sense of taste is activated when you're doing these reading processes with people. So a lot of interesting information that you wouldn't think would come along.
Yes. Well, I'm familiar with, I think it's clairglutinance or something like that for the taste. And yes, and I found that to be interesting. I just discovered that one not long ago, and I found it to be pretty interesting too.
It is.
Yes. And so some of our folks out there may not know what psychometry is. And I know that's fascinating, and I've actually experienced it myself. So tell us a little bit about that and how you work with that.
Well, psychometry is about energy retention on objects, in buildings, again, on land, but also on any item like jewelry, silverware. It's especially common with metal objects, but also gemstones. Like I used to do a lot of work for people with rings, because both the stone itself retains energy and the metal. And again, I think my hands are like little antennas, because they just tune in on whatever is there, and information starts to flow out of that object. So it's very helpful for people who, for example, like to buy antiques, people who choose to go and rock hounding, and they can bring those in. And those stones all have a history, just like we do.
Yes, and what people may not understand is that we have chakras in both of our hands, and chakras are little energy centers in the body, and that probably helps a lot when you're doing the work that you've described.
Very sensitive. Our hands are amazing.
Yes, and so one of the things that isn't on your list that I'm sure people would have interest in, and certainly I do, is when I look at a photograph, it speaks to me, and I know a lot of information about what's in the photograph. Now, does that have a name, or would that just be considered clairvoyance?
I think it's commonly just considered under the clairvoyance umbrella. It's quite powerful. Those are intuitive and very dramatic sometimes recognitions that you're having of the people in the photograph, the location. In the old days, I used to have people who were dealing with hauntings and retained spirit energy in buildings, fax me a picture before the days of email. And it doesn't seem to matter how that picture is presented. I'm sure you find this too.
Yes, I think it's fascinating, because it's amazing what you can get out of just a photograph. And I'm sure a lot of people want to elevate their intuition and would wonder how to do that. And what I would say would be just to relax and let the photo speak to you. Now, do you have a better way for them to do that?
Nope, that's perfect.
And so I'm sure you get a lot of questions from people how to improve their intuition, and we can talk about that in the next session, because I really know that you do classes on that. So I'm sure that people will want to know, and I'm assuming they're remote now on Zoom because of our situation with the COVID. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yes. So when we come back in a few minutes, we'll address that, because I think that in today's world, developing your intuition is only going to help you maneuver a lot of these things that are going on in our world today that are so personal, especially regarding our health, because when you enter a room, you don't know who's in the room, and you don't know if they could be harmful to you. And, we can't live in a bubble, because we do have to go to different places as we go through our days. So if you'll stay with us, we will be back in just a few minutes, or not even that long, so that you will be able to hear all the fascinating things that Roz has today to share with us. So we'll see you in just a bit.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. SIMULTV.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. SIMULTV.com, sonny boy.
SIMULTV.com.
SIMULTV.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
SIMULTV.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. SIMULTV.com.
Welcome back. So glad that you joined us again. And I'm sure you're finding our guest today, Roz, very exciting and full of great information. And she, in a minute, is going to talk to you about how she helps people improve their intuition, as well as some other fantastic and fascinating topics. I'm sure you figured out by now that I think this is really great stuff, right? So, Roz, tell us about your classes and how you help people.
I feel like since we all have this ability, being able to pull that forth is the primary objective, because usually we, as the years pass, push this back and it ends up sort of like on a side burner, but it's still there. So I suggest to people that they start to really consciously think about the things that are going on all the time. Of course, our mind is an amazing computer, and we are running everything that's going on right in front of us all the time, constantly. But our subconscious mind is pulling in all kinds of other information. So the real trick to developing your gifts is to start to concentrate and realize when other information is coming through. And the easiest way to do that is to write it down, very simply. You know, you get a hit that somebody's going to call you. You think to yourself, oh, I need to go do this and I need to do it now. And you feel urgency when you're feeling that.
And
thought.
most people don't do it, do they?
They don't do it. And I found I don't do large classes anymore, because I found that people are able to function and process through this learning when it's more in a mentor kind of a role. So amazingly, once people start to do that, they're shocked. They're truly shocked at how much their mind is processing through all the time.
When what I have discovered is that you really have to trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself, you're going to poo-poo those thoughts you have. And then when it shows up, you're going to be like, oh, I think I thought about that. And do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's very accurate. And I also think one of the things everybody always says to me, well, how do you receive this information? We really can begin to turn our mind into kind of an antenna like mine, where we are picking up on all the conscious and obvious information that's coming through, and all the subconscious and very subtle information that's coming through. And one other thing that I usually suggest to people is that if they're watching television on a regular basis, they really control and manage that time. Because I think what happens with television is our mind kind of goes into this semi-hypnotic kind of state. So we're not processing all the information we normally would. So,
well, it just really puts you into a no usable information state.
well, I remember many years back, they actually did some studies as to how quickly the brain is hypnotized by television. And it's just a lot easier when you manage and limit that time and allow your brain to be recording and keeping up on all those subtle things that are going on and coming in.
Well, and I also think when people can increase their intuition, they're more excited about not putting their brain on automatic in front of a TV set, because the information that you draw in is pretty fascinating, I believe. Because, it's really fun when you think about somebody and 10 minutes later they call you. You've connected through your own wavelengths.
Yeah, it's really startles most people when they begin to realize how much information is coming through to them constantly, which is from that subconscious and very open channel that we have. So
yes. And what is that called when there's like a universal mind?
I don't know.
Well, I've read that there is like a universal mind that we all tap into. And I think that's how we get that information. Like, I thought about my friend and she called me. And I'm not sure if that's the terminology for that, but it is pretty fascinating. Because, I'm a self-taught psychic. So I don't know all the right words.
I think you're quite gifted. I don't think there's anything that if you open to yourself, so sorry.
See, you thought about a friend, Roz.
I did. I turned that thing to be quiet. This is the other thing that happens is my hands and electronic things. And this is why I'm so blessed to have someone to help me, because if I touch things, I've blown up things, I've told things to be off, they're on, vice versa. It is just fascinating.
Well, I think that's what happens to those of us who are gifted, is that we have this huge aura and it just screws things up, because I've had people talk to me before about that. And it's like, you can't pull it in because it's just part of you and it's just there.
Well, someone told me many years ago that I kill every watch I ever try to wear. It just stops working. And I finally found a watch when I was about 45 that seems to resist me, and I still have it. So
wow.
I think some electronic items and some electrical items have natural resistance to our energy field that's around us. And
right.
You have to search that out.
Well, I think it's pretty cool myself. And I really think it kind of draws the right people to you also. Because you know how they say when the student's ready, the teacher appears. Well, that happens a lot to me. So I think if we just, I've always been a pretty good manifester. And with that said, I would love for you to talk about that class, because manifesting goal achievement is my hot button. And I've already written a book about it, and I'm writing a second one.
And you are good at it.
Thank you.
Should be teaching a class, because it's very powerful.
Well, I do work with people one-on-one, but I prefer that, like you. I don't like to have a big group because I pick up everybody's energy, and then it makes it even more challenging to do the work.
It does.
Yes.
Totally true.
Yes, so I'm really excited to hear about your class. And I'm sure our folks that are tuning in are as well, especially since it's remote, because who doesn't want to manifest their dreams, right?
That's true. It brings us joy.
So when's your next class and what's it about?
Right now, I don't have anything scheduled because I took everything off my schedule. I'm going to be going out of state and working with some people in California. So I don't have anything listed right now. The mentoring can be a more individual process. But one thing I really feel is when we do make the effort to connect with other people and we make that powerful subconscious focus to help them, it does in truth blast our gifts to the to the moon and beyond. So
Yeah. So it's kind of scary even when you're used to weird, right?
yeah, I've had my moments.
Yes. It's like, wow. So
How did that happen?
yeah. And people are always like, how do you do that, Syndee? Because I love the parking place manifestation. How do you do that, Syndee? I'm like, I just ask for it and there it is.
And there it is.
I know. And with parking in California, that's a pretty big deal. Because, we have so many people here.
True.
Yes. So with that, how can they connect with you to sign up for some of the wonderful things that we're going to continue talking about today?
Well, the easiest way to connect with me, because as you can tell, I'm almost always on the phone or on Zoom, but I have a simple booking calendar that you can just get on roslynreynolds.as.me. And there it is. Everything.
Can you spell that? Because Rozlyn can be spelled many different ways.
It's ROZLYNREYNOLDS.as, the word as.me.
Perfect. And they can sign up and pay up and connect with you and learn how to manifest parking places and everything else.
I'm not as good at that as you are. I don't know why.
Well, I don't either, because you're such a fantastic clairvoyant. My special gift, my strongest gift is claircognizance. And so I just know stuff. And with clairvoyance, you can picture it.
I do.
But I do see it in my mind when I want it. And I'm always amazed how it always shows up.
I have them show up, but I also have people scoot right there in front of me too. So I think that's a lesson in patience.
Yes. Well, all of us want things right now. We're in that society here in the US where, right now sometimes isn't even fast enough, which is pretty sad, right?
True.
Yes. And so are there any tips that you could tell people besides what we've talked a little bit about how to manifest, besides seeing it and just knowing it's going to be there for you?
Well, you said it yourself, really. I think if you're visualizing what you would like to see manifest, what you would like to come, and I do that not just for myself, but I do it in many other situations too, because a lot of what people come to me for is help, something, to bring something, to have something come forth. So I think that is the number one thing that works in my realm of energy, is to visualize.
Yes. Well, if you question that it works, I have to tell you, I've been writing a cookbook because everybody always wants my recipes. And so I've been saving my recipes and making sure they're accurate. And so I was shocked when I started dating a culinary school trained chef.
Aha.
And a friend of mine who does production work wants to put him on Zoom. So I'm like, that was like in like a couple of weeks, I manifested that.
You're
and
on
so
a roll.
So I guess I really didn't want to do a cookbook. That's how easy it is, everyone. So if you're interested in learning from a pro how to manifest, you need to connect with Rozlyn and get her help, because I think we all need to do a better job of manifesting in the world we live in today, especially if we want a plane ride home with everything going on and people stuck in airports because of the nonsense going on. So give her a call, and she'll give you a call once you sign up on our website. So we will be back in a very short time at Beyond Logic. So stay with us. You're going to love what we're going to talk about next, because it's really fascinating, as I'm sure you've already discovered. So stay with us, and we'll see you in just a minute.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Welcome back to Beyond Logic, and we have a guest today, Reynolds, who is sharing some amazing information to help you get through every day with some other things than you normally would use. So I would love to bring you back to us, Roz, and to share some more interesting information. Now, I really want to spend a minute talking about energy healing, because I don't know one person who couldn't use some of that. So maybe explain how that works, and then we can pursue how they can maybe work with you if they choose to do so.
Well, I feel energy healing is about the intention of helping someone deal with whatever they're dealing with. It can be spiritual, emotional, physical. Our body loves to work on itself and heal itself. It really does. So going into the thought process of getting out of the way of that healing and that energy moving through your body is really helpful. And in my case, I've been doing this since I was pretty young, and I actually see energy when it's in living things. I see it moving. I see it sometimes as colors. And when I'm helping people who are working with an issue that they want to correct or heal in their body, I literally walk them through and discuss with them, feeling and seeing the energy move, and starting from the floor, from their feet, and coming all the way up through their chakras and balance points, and clearing and releasing. And I do breath work with that also, so that people can feel the release. When they release the breath, they're also releasing the things that are blocking their body from working on itself and making itself well, in whatever way that is.
It sounds like it's chakra work. Would you describe it that way?
I think that's a part of it. We do have these concentrated energy points in our body. I never even said the word chakra for years, but I could feel and see these energy points. And every living thing has them. And moving energy through those points of intensity is about allowing our body, allowing itself to create the healing energies to flow and clear and remove. So it's very powerful, and yet it's not something that most people think of. So
No, because they mostly want to go to the doctor and get some pills.
pretty much.
Quick fix.
There
Yes.
there are many of us out here that doesn't work for us.
No. No.
So, in
Well,
my
it sounds
case, it's true.
so. It sounds very similar to Reiki healing,
Yes, it
because
is.
Reiki healing is all about intention.
It is. And I see when I'm working on people, I don't necessarily have to have them in front of me. I don't need to see a picture. I just sometimes need to hear their name, and I can tune in on their energy and work through and allow them to process through. And I do this with prayer and affirmation. And I ask to have the power, intensity, and to be given the gift to be able to allow people to heal themselves. So Reiki is very interesting. I did not know much about the process of Reiki, but I have had a lot of people who do Reiki who say it's pretty much the same.
It is. It's intentional, and what you're doing is called remote healing.
Somebody told me a few years back, they said, how much distance work, how much distance healing do you do? And I had never heard remote healing before, but someone else said, oh, that it's remote healing, where you're actually working on, I work on animals and people, and I work on parts of the earth a lot.
Well, here's the thing. People completely underestimate the power of the mind, and with intention, what that can do. It's completely amazing to me. I had some pretty interesting experiences myself with helping people, not even knowing what Reiki was. And then, once I learned about it, it's like, that is just incredible. So don't underestimate yourself. You can heal yourself. And I think Edgar Casey did a lot of that kind of work.
He did. He was amazing.
Yes, he actually could diagnose and blew people's minds when they went to the doctor and found out he was 100% right. What a gifted soul he was.
He was a powerful mover and bender, in my mind, of energy.
Yes, I think he could even heal people, if I'm not mistaken.
He did.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, one of his closest friends he's written books about his experiences with him. And it always makes me wonder if there are other people out in the world with those kinds of gifts, but they're fearful to come forward because of the repercussions. Now, today, as you know, Roz, it's not as prevalent that people are ridiculed for having those kinds of gifts.
And punished.
And punished. Yes.
It's sad.
It is.
Really, you're really allowing the other person to heal from within and helping them to move the energy.
Exactly. So if anyone in the audience is listening, don't fear your gifts. If you need some help, contact someone who can help you be more comfortable with what you have. And you can always work in smaller circles, but you've been given that gift for a reason. So talk to someone who you are comfortable with to try to find a way to be able to utilize that. And what I found is once you come out of that closet, you feel like a more whole person because you're not using a part of yourself that's been gifted to you to help others. Is the way I view it.
Absolutely.
So what would you say to our audience, Roz, about that?
I feel like when you have that innate desire to help, and to heal, help them heal, etc. It's kind of like you're hiding your gift out of fear, and you got to step into that and release that fear and realize that it's given to us to do this work. I do, as I always tell people, tremendous prayer and affirmation to do this kind of work, and I feel like for me it's the acknowledgement that this is an aspect really of a part of my whole being, my whole person. So think about that, because
Exactly. I believe it's our given purpose in life to be able to utilize our gifts to help other people. I really, truly believe that that's why we're here. And I'm sure that you have experienced that on a daily basis, Roz, with the work that you do, because you have so many gifts that you help others with. And I really think too, when you have that fear, especially of your gifts and your purpose, that's going to create health issues for you if you don't allow yourself to be your whole self.
I'm in total agreement with that.
Yes, I can't tell you how much better I felt, because I worked in corporate America for decades and had to hide the fact that I had gifts. But some people would notice things and I'd have to laugh about it and fend it off. But you can't really hide who you are. And when you do finally allow your total self to be seen, it makes such a huge difference. You just feel more authentic in your life every day. So be sure to live your life authentically, whatever your gifts are. And if you need some help, don't hesitate, because Roz and many others are available here for you to help you.
Very true.
Yes. So is there anything you'd like to add about the healing aspect? And can they sign up on that very same site that you mentioned earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
What I do, I call clearing, healing, and balancing. And people think this is something that, could take hours. It's not. It's about you stepping into your ability. And it's an amazing process that can be very quick.
And it really would help people in every aspect of their life, because you've eliminated something that's really stagnating you in your total being.
True.
Yes.
Very true.
Yes. And so do you also work with crystals with people to help them? Because crystals and stones are so powerful. People don't even realize what those stones are about.
I feel that finally we are beginning to acknowledge that crystals are ancient technology, and they are very powerful to assist us with clearing, healing, and balancing, but also the concentration of energy around specific crystals has, facilitated huge change for people. I was telling someone the other day, they said they had a sinus headache, and they said, do you have anything? I said, I don't, but I do have a smoky quartz crystal. Put it on your forehead, tip your head back and relax. And surprisingly, those crystals have energy coming out of them and they vibrate. So it's an amazing thing. It's a gift that we have right in our hands whenever we want it.
Well, and we're a vibrating energy. So when the two energies
Absolutely.
connect, that's how they work.
Absolutely.
So if you had a couple of stones to select for people to help them on their way, I know I have my favorites. And so what crystals would you share that you feel would be best for people to maybe carry with them or put them in their home?
Well, I'm a great lover of quartz, any of the quartz family, but I especially like, for people who are struggling with emotional issues, rose quartz, which is the quartz of the heart chakra. Amazing results with that. I've suggested to people carry them in your pocket, wear it. I have crystals that I wear every day, and I can feel them very strongly. And I think another one that I love amethyst for spiritual. If you're studying any kind of spiritual practice, or decide you want to make changes in your basic energy of spiritual activity, I find amethyst to be incredibly powerful.
Well, we're going to continue this stone conversation in our next set. So if you'll come back and see us with Beyond Logic after our quick break, we will see you in a very short time. Thanks for joining us, and come back in just a few minutes, just a short time. Thanks.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Welcome back to Beyond Logic, and we're thrilled to bring you Reynolds again. And we were just talking about stones, which is a favorite topic of mine. I have several favorites. And we were talking about amethyst, and it's one of my personal favorites. And I have found that it is the number one healing stone that I have discovered for just about everything. And what do you think about that, Roz? Do you consider it a healing stone?
I do. And I feel like, once we are dealing with something where we're struggling a little bit, whether it's a physical situation, emotional, spiritual, I find that just putting a stone in the palm of my hand, and of course my little antenna's going there, and yours will be too. Put the stone in there and you will feel that stone begin to get warm. It's a combination of your body heat, of course, but it's also the vibration of you connecting with the power of that stone. And it has such an incredible creation of a shift of energy that you will not be able to ignore it. Sometimes I put them both in both palms, And if I'm working on something where I want to feel transfer of energy between my hands, I will use more than one stone. And I really feel like these are things that are so simple. And we've moved away from this so far in our culture. Try it, bring it back. Let your soul feel that.
Yes, I love that. My favorite stone for improving intuition is labradorite. And it's such a gorgeous stone with so many beautiful colors. I have several of them, actually. So, do you have a favorite stone for enhancing intuition?
For me, it's always been the intensity of quartz. And as far as enhancing, and the tangible feeling that you have when you're holding a stone, I like smoky quartz, which has an incredible intensity. I also like citrine, which has the ability to clear all of your other stones. And I find that it helps me with my clearing too. Sometimes I'm, experiencing emotion of the day, whatever's going on. And I keep a little, as I said, for my headache and stuff, keep a little piece of smoky quartz right there to help me rebalance, reground.
Well, I love citrine for abundance.
It's good for that too.
Yes, I have a great big, huge one I wear as a necklace. And, it's got the pretty cuts in it to make it really shimmer in the light. But I think if we were looking at crystals, I'd have to say Lemurian crystal is one of my favorites. The cuts that it comes in, and it's got the points on either end if you're lucky to find one.
I'm actually holding one right now.
Yes, I think
Just
they're so
balance.
special. They're very special.
Just to balance, keep myself in the flow.
Well, and I've read where every crystal quartz also magnifies whatever other stones that you may have that you're working with.
So you've been in my office, and you know what the top of my desk looks like?
I do.
It's pretty potent. It's got everything that I love.
Yes, and that enhances so many things. I think people sometimes underestimate the power of different things because, we go through our lives, we get up, we go to work, we answer the phone, we go home, we eat, we go to sleep. And sometimes we miss out on some of the very most important things in life that's at our fingertips. My gosh, imagine if we tapped into any of the things we're talking about today. Oh my gosh. And you were talking that everybody has the ability to enhance their psychic or intuitive ability.
We are born with this, and it remains as a part of our soul's presence. So anytime that you decide that you're ready, a lot of people are, like you said, scared. They're so scared of it, when in reality, I think it's just wonderful and amazing when that energy starts to flow and you feel that intensity of, as you said, the power. It's not power just within, it's power that you're feeling from the universe, from everywhere. It's wonderful.
Well, I look at it as a personal navigator, not only for each one of us individually, but as a reader like yourself and myself, that we help others navigate, especially the turmoils in their life, because sometimes they are not even sure what those are and what to look out for. So one of the things I wanted to ask you to share with our audience today is the power of a reading, and why should people have an intuitive or a psychic reading?
When we are, as you are pointing out, navigating our world and navigating our life, things can get a little overwhelming. So the number one thing I think a reading offers is information that you are not being able to see yourself, coming from your guidance, and from the knowledge that you need clarity. You need to be able to separate and see all of these events that are happening and how they're interconnected. And they usually are. People talk about synchronicity. I mean, that's the classic of synchronicity. All of seeming to you unrelated situations are coming up in your life, and yet they're a part of the flow of your life. And getting clarity on that can really serve you well.
So for those who have never had a reading, and I get people every week who have never had a reading before, can you go through your process of how they can connect and what to expect when they do connect?
What generally I let people know is that I start my day with prayer and affirmation, and I request to my guidance and the angels around me that I be sent the people that need my help today. So the intention of this is that you find answers to your situations, whatever those are. I feel like my intention of being of service and helping people connect to these sources of information that really are right outside of our vision. Literally, they're in a different frequency, a different dimensional field, but they're still there for us.
And that's called the veil, correct?
It is. So connecting with a reader who can bring everything that you need to know from outside that veil and bring it to you is very, very powerful. And it's helpful in the standpoint that, there's a lot of times, I laugh and tell people, I have to ask my guidance all the time, show me what I should be doing now. And of course, I do this as a business. So I'm usually asking in reference of business choices and decisions so that I feel and I know what I'm supposed to do next. And that's the purpose of a reading, really.
Questions that I have when I have a new person especially is, how do they prepare? So do you want to share with you how they could prepare, or do they need to prepare?
Some people are prepared already. They're seeking information, they're seeking knowledge, and they have put themselves in the right frequency and in the right mindset for that to happen. Other people, I find, need to just do a little relaxation and breathing, put their feet on the floor, realize a lot of people come in, frankly, and they're terrified.
Exactly.
And they're shaking sometimes. And I'm always there to remind them that you're receiving this information from the trusted guides that have been around you all of your life. And they're not going to tell you anything that you maybe would find detrimental, scary. I think getting to a point of relaxation to allow those frequencies to flow is the crucial point there.
Exactly. So tell our listeners, our audience again, what they can do to connect with you, and if they would be interested in that reading, and your website so they can find out more information about you.
My website, I actually have offices with some other professional practitioners. We do a lot of different healing modalities and informational gifts. We are called SedonaSoulSisters.com. I also have a website that I've had for many years called Psychic at Your Service, because that is my focus, that I am of service to try and help you with whatever it is you're struggling with, and guide you and connect you with your guidance if that's a difficulty for you. The easiest way to contact me, my office is your doorway to finding these answers. So you can go on those websites, but you can also just go to RozlynReynolds.as, which is as.me. And that's the quickest and easiest way to connect with me.
And so they
and
sign up for a time.
They pick a time. My office hours are shown there, and they can book right online. If they have questions, they can call the office. We've got our connecting phone number on there, and talk to any of us who are there. And sometimes people don't know exactly what they want. So sometimes just a little phone call is helpful. You get a little more specific.
Yes. And so connecting with someone that you resonate with and that you feel that you can open up to and receive is really a good way to find the right person for you. And I can tell you that Roz has been a friend and a consultant for me for a decade at least. And, we connected immediately when we met, and I'm sure that you will find someone to help you on your journey, because that's why we're all here, to have the best journey that we can. And when we're feeling overwhelmed, or when we're feeling like we need clarity, answers, navigation through some of our toughest waters that we have to get through, it's so much easier if you have a trusted confidant to be able to guide you and help you along the way. I'm Syndee Hendricks. This is Beyond Logic, and I'd be thrilled if you'd tune in again, because we'll have fabulous, fascinating guests for you every week. Bye for now.